Right, hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Doc Who Pod. I'm Josh. With me, as always, is my co-host Jack Phillips. Hello, Jack.
Hi there.
And there is a big, fat, absent hole where Bradley Fuller normally sits, so you'll have to excuse him this week.
Can't believe it. I can't believe we let him have a holiday, really. I feel like we've let the podcast down an hour and a half by letting him have a holiday.
I know. Imagine taking a holiday from the podcast.
Yeah, can't believe it. So,
Are
so
you
some people are just too selfish.
are you still on every episode so far?
Yeah, still on every, bar the new ones. But yeah, no, I'm on every episode.
That's wild, Digger. That's the sort of commitment we like over here at Doc Who Pod.
Also, haven't taken a holiday since October 22, but we're going to skip over that one. Yeah,
I'm sure we can manage. He's obviously not here this week, which means he won't be here next week either. But to be honest, he hasn't missed two massively great episodes. I mean, we're going to start talking with obviously Doctor's daughter. In a sentence, JP,
disappointing.
this is
Actually, no,
disappointing.
sorry. Can I take it back? Misleading.
Oh, all right. I'm intrigued to delve into that a little bit further. But shall we just jump on over quickly to Who News first?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, not much to add. Obviously, part one of the season finale came out, the new one. Pretty good. I thought it was all right actually. It's addressed most of the Easter eggs that it's laid. It hasn't answered them yet. Hoping it's
Mhm.
going to in the next episode. Um, yeah, I mean it's your standard part one of the story, really. It'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see if they can stick the landing or if they fuck it up, it will all just be considered a flop, really. So keen to see where it's going. The big reveal was not what we expected it to be. It wasn't another
Really?
TARDIS.
Uh,
But
I mean, if you made another TARDIS, what would it be? It'd have to be red because the opposite of blue is red.
well, you
Oh,
find out
postbox.
soon.
That's the opposite of the TARDIS. Postbox.
A
Red.
post box, a phone
You
box,
could
and a
fit
post
inside
box.
there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you will. Other TARDISes, TARDI? What's the plural of a TARDIS? Come in episodes soon. Well, in the Whittaker era, I think is the next time we see another
Okay.
TARDIS.
So nice,
Yeah,
nice and close then.
a while to go. So let's crack on with this. So you said disappointing. Let's run through
Mm.
it in our normal way. The first note I have is Jenny's a weapon in more way than one, isn't she?
Yeah, I've got to say that was. I mean, we saw her, of course, in the next time trailer, but yeah, I've got to say, I mean, Brett, I actually watched this episode with Brad, and he
Oh
did
yeah,
give me some very interesting behind the scenes stuff. So I didn't realise, but that is now David Tennant's wife.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, fair play. He's, they weren't like married at the time, but I understand, or Brad thinks that was the first time they met, and yeah, I mean, fair play. It's yeah, she's not bad looking.
Well, David Tennant had just broken up with Madame de Pompadour just before he
Mhm.
started filming this episode.
He's
And
got a
yeah,
type, hasn't
doesn't he just? Yeah, doesn't he just? And apparently he'd been befriending her son, who he then later adopted, who is obviously Pete Davidson's grandson. So she plays the doctor's daughter, and then she married the doctor, but she's also the doctor's daughter in real life as well.
Ah,
Timey
wait, what?
wimey, eh?
Jesus, imagine marrying your own daughter. It's scary.
Imagine marrying your own daughter. He's technically done it. And then he, like I said, he adopted her son. I think they've had another son now. Yeah, they're still happily married. She's got a bit fat, in my opinion, but yeah,
Haven't we all, mate? Haven't we all?
actually,
Right.
that's a very good point. Everyone except for David Tennant, weirdly enough.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Maybe he just, maybe he still has the power of time.
Maybe he does. I mean, he technically still is the Doctor. So,
True, true.
right,
But
why don't they clone the girls?
no, they're stopped. They're just about to do it, and then they're stopped by the hack.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay. So they are going to do
They
that.
were going to, and then there's another point as well where they make reference to about that they can produce thousands of clones from the Doctor and Donna as well, and then they're stopped because the Doctor then finds, I think he then finds another point on the map or something like that, but something
Ah,
else
okay.
stops before they do. But
Good
I
pickup.
like she comes out holding a gun. She comes out. The first thing she does is just grab a gun.
Oh, I've got you know how much I love an episode about social commentary, JP, and this is rife with it. I'm sure we'll delve into it a little bit further down the line. Um, I mean, it's just the Haft's a pretty good design.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of, I mean, I've never really seen Stargate. It's never really, I'm aware of it. I've never really seen it. It's something I should sit down and watch. But
Mm,
it was quite interesting because everybody knows that the P90, a modified P90, is the gun. It's the weapon of sci-fi choice. You know, humans,
okay.
they're fighting aliens, they've got to have a P90. And then these kind of, and then the Haft rock up, and it was like, oh, okay, they're very interesting. It's very alien. Like, it's the complete opposite of us, really.
Oh, you think they actually made an effort?
Yeah, 100%. I think they made an effort. It's just like, I mean, look, for a start, we breathe oxygen. I'm assuming they were kind of absorbing oxygen, maybe something else through the little bubbly thing at the front.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it's kind of like the complete opposite, really.
Mm, except for the shoulders, they've got the same
I,
shoulders.
yeah, same shoulders, of course. But yeah, but imagine that she just got to put his shoulder back and then just completely like ripped it off.
Or he ejaculates or something. You
That's
don't
my
know where their
experience.
penis might
Martin.
be.
Wait a minute, give me 10 minutes. Hold on.
I've got a lot of love for Martha in this episode, to be fair.
Oh, so do I, man. So do I. I've got to say the just the compassion that she shows. Bearing in mind that she has technically been kidnapped by the alien.
Yeah, yeah,
The compassion that she shows to then just her nursing instinct just takes up straight away. He's not an alien; he's an injured patient, and I love that. That is just a massive kind of just credit to her character, I guess.
absolutely. I think this is the best example of character development that we've had in Doctor Who so far. And I mean, there's
Mm,
even moments where she's like, "I'm Martha, I'm a human. Who the hell are you?" And it's like, okay,
yeah.
your doctor's showing like that is probably what would happen to a companion after spending however many time with the Doctor.
Well, she's got the benefit, really, and I know that some people are probably going to hate me for this, but she's got the benefit of working with the Doctor and Unit as well.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely, absolutely. I
And
think at this point she's also worked with Torchwood as well.
okay, yeah.
Um,
So she's pulling everything in. Yeah, she's almost taking the best bits from every part, really.
exactly, and I think it really shows. And I mean, she has had a fucking rough time as a companion, probably the
Mm-hmm.
roughest. Like this episode, she gets fucking yeah, she nearly drowns. She's walking across that desolate planet, going in and out of radiation pockets. She gets kidnapped. Um, yeah, rough old time, you know.
Yeah, she definitely goes through it, but she does it because of her compassion. You
Yeah,
know, she's there. She's
exactly.
like, right, I've got to link up with the Doctor. That she's got this new species that she's kind of met, and she wants to help them out. And I like that. But something that did make me laugh though is that kind of theme, I guess you call it, in the tunnel, where they've got destination charges.
Yeah.
Something that did make me laugh. Why do they have a warning noise?
Yes, yeah. What's the point of having
What?
a trigger that's delayed?
What's the name of that? It's just like, kind of like, don't get me wrong, like, you may say that there's got to be a short, like a grenade, for example. The grenade has got a couple of seconds fuse, so it doesn't blow up in your hand or blow up in your face. But surely like, you don't throw a grenade and it just goes on the floor and just goes warning, you know.
I'm about to blow
Like,
up in 5, 4. It just
yeah,
doesn't work, does it?
it was a strange one. It was, and to be honest, there was just a few little things in this episode that kind of did irk me a little bit. There's kind of nothing major, but it was just like, okay, that's it. But
Go on. How many of those are Donna related?
let's have a look. None of them actually.
Go on. Give us your irks for the episode. What mithered
So
you?
the is the laser scene. Right, absolute bullshit. She's not cartwheel her way through there without nicking at least a leg or something like that. I'm sorry, there is no fucking way. Right, it looks cool. We've all seen the first Resident Evil film. We know that lasers are bad. Bollocks, absolute bollocks.
It's for the trailers, Jacket. That's how you market it.
The trailers. I know it's for the trailers, but she did it in the episode, and that was it. The half fucking drowned.
Yes, I do.
Well, the fish thing with gills drowned. Like, I don't know. That really bugged me a little bit. At least have him like evaporate or something like that.
I think you can argue that that's a swamp. That would be like if you put a fish in custard, it's still going to drown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but come up with something more creative. Maybe having like kind of, I don't know, obliterated by a radiation spike or something like that. But that one irked me as well. The cat toy. Why the fuck does the Doctor have a cat toy? I mean, it's cool that he has a cat toy. Why?
Why wouldn't he? His pockets are bigger
Because
on
he
the
doesn't
inside.
like cats.
Maybe that's why, to distract the cats when they come near. Next time, like if he was in New Earth, that's what he'd do. He'd just set it off and they'd all be distracted.
The other thing that I audibly groaned at was it was 7 days. And I just put 7 days, fucking biblical, mate. You know, God made the world in 7 days, and I audibly groaned at that one. But and the final thing was Martha. When Jenny gets shot and she's kind of dying, and the doctor's there and everything like that, and the doctor says about 2 hearts, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit. But Martha, without even touching the body, going up close to the body or anything else, she's just like, yeah, she's showing no life signs. She's dead, mate.
She did.
You're a
You
medical
do.
profession. At least listen for a heartbeat, or you know.
You do see her taking her pulse. I do love the idea that she's got 2 hearts. Like, you can't just tell by taking her pulse. And it just instantly must like, nah, she's dead, mate. Fuck it, let's go. The doctor's like, can we just wait for 5 minutes? And she's like, nah, I've got to go. I've got to get home.
She did so well during this episode to show all compassion and kind of a nurturing nature. And then she's just like, oh, the doctor's daughter's been shot. Killed now, I must be dead, mate.
Come on, I've got to get home. I've left the fucking oven on. It is a bit like, yeah, nah, we need to leave. But
the director was there and he's like, we've got 5 more minutes. Don't fucking stall.
Yeah. I can't believe the doctor didn't stick around for long enough. But we've jumped right ahead there. We'll get to that. I also want to talk a bit more about the 7-day thing as well, because I think there's a few plot holes in that. But that's right. Okay. So I think Donna comes out with a line about this whole cloning thing, that her friend fathered twins from a turkey baster.
I put exactly the same note.
What does that mean? I'm not sure I understand that as an adult, let alone letting a kid hear that.
This is how I read it, right? And we are, I don't know if we've got an age rating or something, but we are about to fucking hit 18 pronto. I'm assuming that someone spunked in a turkey baster, shoved it up there and squeezed the ball on the end, and that was it.
That's a mental thing to put into a kid's TV show.
I know. I couldn't believe it, honestly. So I watched it twice. I watched this once with Brandon, and then twice. The second time I watched it, yes, I could take notes and everything like that.
Yeah.
And both times I was just shocked. And the second time, I knew the line was coming, and yet was still audibly shocked by it. Like, it was like, Jesus. I mean, how did that get past senses?
Exactly. Yeah. Imagine how many Ofcom complaints they must have got for that.
I'm thinking about making the complaint fucking 12 years later.
It is a bit. That's like horror movie shit. Do you know what I mean? Jesus. Dear. Unbelievable. I think it's really interesting seeing how clean the hat side is versus how clean or how dirty the human side is.
Yeah. I agree, actually. I agree. It's right down to the clothes they're wearing. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. We could be looking at kind of any house that we're watching. It could have gone, God, look at those, kind of scruffy little urchins. But
true.
Yeah, they looked more presentable. As you said, the surroundings were cleaner. They're better. And I think I don't know whether because they never speak any English and it's never translated or anything like that. But I didn't see a leader necessarily.
Yes, I do hear you. Yeah, it seems to be very sort of what do they call it? Like a flat structure.
Yeah.
But just on that, apparently the writer for this episode, I can't remember who it is, Gareth Edwards maybe, he wrote all of the Hat's dialogue so that when they're obvious, with no intention of it ever being spoken, just so that they could, emote in the correct way, which I thought was just a really sort of interesting way of doing it, like that, sort of going above and beyond. But you do feel like they are properly communicating to each other, to be fair.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's interesting because I'd love to know how they kind of did the special effects of them talking.
What do we
Because
like the bubbles?
yeah, because every time they talk, of course, bubbles are there. So I wondered if they just because they're like different pitches and everything like that. So I wonder if it was something that was added in, totally up kind of post production, or whether the actors were told to try and speak those lines. Or I don't know,
I
but
don't know, to be fair. Yeah. No, I thought it was very interesting. And obviously, it's compared to the soldier. So we meet Colonel, what's his name? Colonel Old Man.
I can't remember. I didn't put it down. I don't think.
And it's just, listen, let's not comment on it too much, but the whole idea of soldiers breeding soldiers to fight a cause that nobody really knows what's going on. It's been so diluted, you know, and I love the idea of peace versus genocide. Are they the same thing? Is wiping out one race the idea of peace, or is it not living together? This is Doctor Who at its finest, and I'm fascinated because I'm openly anti-war and probably anti-military. Whereas you wanted to join the military, JP, so you're the polar
Yeah,
opposite of me in this regard.
yeah,
What
yeah.
did
No,
you think of Colonel Dipshit?
yeah, no, I like everything like that. But it's interesting because, as I said, we kind of lose half of it because we don't hear what the hats, well, we hear what they say, we don't know what they say. But it's very interesting, and it's very interesting. It's on the back of an episode with the Sontarans who were breeding soldiers to fight.
Yeah, good point. Actually, never even drew those
It's quite.
comparisons.
And the other thing is as well is there's another kind of plot line as well about the Doctor saying he's not a soldier. And
Yes.
again, it's very weird that that's brought up on the back of an episode when the Doctor's telling everyone, "Don't salute me. I'm not a soldier. I don't care."
Yeah, good point. To be fair,
Very,
it's
very, very weird.
especially right. Well, minor spoilers, but especially knowing what's coming. We're halfway through this season, by the way. How the fuck has that happened? But
Yeah.
knowing what's happening, literally 3 stories away, um, it's very, very subtle foreshadowing. I will just say that.
Okay. Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah.
but speaking of Tennant, he is on absolutely top form in this episode. His acting, his banter with Martha, his banter with Donna. Um, there's that bit where he is describing the last, that he's the last of the Time Lords and he's fought in a war that nobody's, nothing this could ever compare to. God, he's a good actor, isn't he? I'm glad Brad's not here because he does good acting in this episode.
You know what? It's what's the parts that really get me is when he gets like the Doctor gets overly excited. So
Okay.
my next note actually is where he says about the sauce. Oh, I love a sauce. You know, that kind of. I
Yes.
don't know what he does. He does something with. It's almost like a gun. You know, when someone's like kind of off their tips on coke or something like that, and they just
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
clench their jaw, but not clench their jaw at the same time. And it's like, and he does it later in the episode as well when Martha works out that it's a date. It's not just random numbers, it's a date. And he's congratulating Donna, and it's just like, did he just kind of key a bag, or is he just naturally that excited? Like it's a really, really interesting, but it conveys how excited he is. And that's what I think I like David Tennant as a Doctor. You know, we didn't really get that with Christopher Eccleston. But David Tennant is kind of passionate. You know, there's a lot more passion there, I think.
I can see that for sure. Yeah, I can see that for sure. I still have money on Matt Smith is going to be your favorite Doctor, and I think that's just reinforced it for me. But no,
Interesting.
it is. Yeah, he has a proper range. Tennant does, to be fair. And yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm glad Brad's not here to hear this. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so okay, so we're jumping over the story a little bit here because it's sort of by the by. Jenny starts to warm to the Doctor, and I suppose it's a nature versus not nature versus nurture argument as well.
Yeah,
Um, she obviously starts becoming more like the Doctor. Do you think that is just her time with the Doctor, or do you think that is because she is genetically the same or a shadow of the Doctor?
I don't know because the only time that the Doctor started to walk was when Donna hears that she's got two hearts,
Yeah,
and it's just I don't know. I really don't know because I think the key turning point is where she goes to shoot just before the lasers, where she goes to shoot the colonel, and she doesn't. She shoots the air duct, I guess, above.
yeah, yeah.
And then she comes back and she's like, "Oh, I made a choice. I had the choice to kill him, but I didn't. I chose to not." So I don't know if it's kind of if it's just in her genes or whether it was the doctor being an external stimuli. I don't know. But you can tell there are mannerisms there for sure. Very like kind of very almost bubbly, wants to know what's going on, wants to explore the world. And you can see when the doctor says about with her track, like when she's like when Donna says about her traveling, you can see her eyes just widen. She's like, yeah, I'm on board with that.
Did you like her as a character?
She would have been an intro. I'd like to see more of her, to be honest. But yeah, I thought that she was getting, but she was an interesting character. I don't really know why. Well, I kind of know why they killed her off at the end, but well, they didn't. But they kind of made the Doctor think that she's dead. But yeah, no, I thought she was an interesting character.
So on the her being killed at the end, the reason she comes back is because Stephen Moffat said to Russ, "You keep on killing off all your interesting characters. You should stop doing this." So he said, "Okay, fine." That was playing on his mind when he wrote the script, so he brought her back to life. Um, there's some debate over whether she regenerated or not. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing I could find official is Stephen Moffat, who obviously didn't write this episode but did go on to be showrunner, said she didn't regenerate. That was the source that kept her alive. So if she
Mm-hmm.
was to die again, she'd be dead. But do you want to see her again? Do you think we will see her again?
I know that we don't.
How do you?
That's ugly.
Wow. Wow. Spoilers. Fucking hell.
Yeah. No, he told me that she never ever appears again or is mentioned again, which I think is a shame. I really do think it's a shame because I'm not sure if this was at the point where the whole Captain Jack thing was kind of kicking off. I think it was later than that, but she would have been a perfect kind of replacement for Captain Jack.
Actually, that's not a bad shout at all, to be fair. Yeah, she would be quite cool to see come back.
You
I
know,
mean,
kind of.
I'm
Go on.
I'm fine with it. I think the fact the doctor's had this adventure with her, he now thinks she's dead. He's moved on. I think that's very in character. Would I be interested in them bumping in again? Again, it would have to be sort of written well. Um, I don't know if she feels a little bit unearned. Like she's not the doctor's daughter. She's a clone of the doctor or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I don't know. I really like this episode. I think she was probably the weakest part of it, to be fair.
See, I would agree with that, and that's why I said misleading because
Okay.
I went into this episode thinking the Doctor had this daughter that had just, obviously forgotten about or didn't know,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
and it was a clone. And I know that they share the same genetic stuff and yeah, all that stuff, mannerisms, everything like that. But to me, it was just a little bit misleading. I was just like, that's not really the same, though, is it?
It's
And
borderline clickbait, is what it is.
yeah, 100%. What will happen will shock you next. And
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
just like, oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, like, I think that she would have been an interesting character. The fact that you've got another Maverick that has more morals, I guess, than Captain Jack,
Yeah, mate.
and
Or is
just
certainly
kind of
battling with her morals in the same way that he
yeah,
is.
and that kind of sense of trying to find who she is and what she can do. Have her running around the kind of the universe. So I think that's a great idea, but obviously
Mm.
they didn't, so that was it.
No, fair enough. So the crux of this story is basically two divided factions. They're all after this one thing, the source, which is this mythical thing that's been passed down through generations of warring sides. Um, they race there. Martha goes above ground. By the way, I love that whole subplot with Martha. Genuinely, the
Mhm.
Hath dying. I know you mentioned it was a bit stupid. Caught me by surprise and was surprisingly emotional for someone that has literally not said a word as well.
Really?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was done very well for a meaningless supporting character.
I didn't understand why Martha was literally like, yeah, I get that she's a compassionate character, but I mean, fucking hell, like I thought she was ready to like kind of give it all up herself. I was like, Jesus, woman, you've only just met him. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just because I'm, incapable of doing, but I don't
Emotions,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I understand she would have been upset because she felt guilty and everything like that, but I thought it was a bit over the top. I get that they obviously wanted to kill him off. I don't understand why, but they wanted to do that. And I don't know. As I said, I think the whole fish thing drowning was a bit really.
So she meets back up with the doctor. They find the source, but just before they do, they work out that this war that's been generations is actually a 7 day war.
Mhm.
Go. Go.
7 days
Spin your
is
wheels,
fucking
JP.
fucking biblical, mate. It just I don't know. It just I guess that it's kind of a thing that no matter how far in the future you go, there's always going to be some kind of reference to the Bible, I guess. I mean, I never read it, but I know bits and pieces of it. So I thought it was quite an interesting detail, should we say?
I yeah, listen, put the biblical things to the side. I don't hate it as a concept. I think even if it's generations and generations, you know, how can the Chinese whisper of the source, how can you split so far in 7 days that you can't make it back to that original shit? That confuses me. And the thing that I think throws this whole concept, that colonel is older than 7 days old. Even if he was cloned, like, was he cloned as an old man? I don't understand how he's old. Why is he the only old man there?
I thought he was an original crewmate.
But then why wouldn't he know what the
Yeah,
source was or where to go or anything?
that's a fair point.
He's just an old man. I'm going to assume he was cloned from an old man, but then Jenny was cloned from the doctor and she's not even the same gender. Very
Maybe it's
confusing.
just like a randomizer thing. Like when you go like you start off an RPG and you get to build your own character. Maybe it's just a random thing. You just press the random button. Whatever comes out comes out.
But
It
then
came
it's
out old.
not
She came out.
a clone or a genetic copy, is it?
Oh, true, true. Well, yeah. I mean, it's at the end of the day, if you're a dad and you've got a daughter, you still, even though you're not the same gender, you still got similarities in genetics and everything like that.
Okay, fair. But if you gave birth to someone that was a 60-year-old man, you'd be worried, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
um,
That's yeah.
so they find the source. Love that. I love the idea that technology, once you're far enough removed from it, becomes a myth. Like, I love the idea that God is an alien that visited us once and we just deified it. I love all that sort of that theory. So that all works for me. Did you like the reveal of the source being this terraforming thing?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It goes back to the old saying of magic is just unexplained science.
Exactly that. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, like you look at and it's interesting because I was watching some kind of like ancient apocalypse thing on Netflix because I run out of things to watch before the acolyte, and they were talking about like dragons in the sky and everything, and what they all like kind of what they thought thousands of years ago was a dragon in the sky. It was probably a comet or something like that. Now we know
Yeah.
it's a comet now,
Yeah.
but back in the day, you see this big fucking light thing go across the sky, you're gonna shit yourself and think, oh fuck.
No,
Yeah.
exactly that. That's exactly it. I think it's absolutely fascinating. But we normally see it done retroactively. Like in the next episode, we're about to see Agatha Christie, historically goes missing and they fill in the gaps. This we're doing it in the future. We're anticipating. It's good to see it reversed.
Yeah.
And I quite like that. And then the colonel just decides to shoot at the doctor, hits the doctor's daughter, doesn't shoot the doctor again. She dies. It's very sad. It's very Doctor and the Master at the end of the last series. Another Time
Yeah.
Lord dying in his arms.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she had the time on powers. That was kind of a TBD, really. It was like, does she? Does she not? We'll find out, and then she dies. Um, I don't know. It just felt. I guess like the reason I thought they wanted to kill her off because I genuinely thought they killed her off, and then she comes back at the end. And I thought, that's probably why. Because like, when you mention, when I talked to you and Brad about it, you mentioned kind of like people like the River Song. I'm trying to think of some other things as well, but like other bits and pieces. But neither of you mentioned the Doctor's daughter. So I was like, I'm assuming that she's dead. Then that's why nobody ever mentions her.
Good
And then they
point.
brought her back. You know what I mean? It's just like not something that I didn't even know the Doctor had in quotations like a daughter. Um, so that was an interesting one for me.
Yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, Russ just literally wrote her back alive to appease Stephen Moffat. There's no real story reason. Like in the original script, she just died.
Mm,
Um, so
I
yeah,
think that would
don't
have
I
been
don't,
better.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose I really liked the parallels of again, she's dying in his arms. It's very much like Sound of Drums or whatever it was that we just watched. He's holding it again, and that's why he sort of loses himself. And then he becomes the deity figure for this civilization. He's like, no, remember when this civilization was, I'm the person that formed it and I let it go.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Love all of that. Love all of
yeah.
that. As we mentioned earlier, do we wait for Jenny to come back alive? No, fuck her off. Let's go home. Martha's got good things to do. Um, my last note really is Donna's little sentence to Martha, I'm going to travel with that man forever. Just being an absolute surefire way to die before the end of the series, don't you think?
Yeah, almost like it's my last day on the job. I can't wait
Yeah.
to retire with my grandchildren and my wife.
Exactly. Any miscellaneous notes of this episode, JP? I know we've sort of flown through it.
Yeah, me shouting at the TV in my best Emperor Palpatine impression when he's pointing the gun at the Colonel at the end, and I just went, "Do it." I
Yes.
really wanted the Doctor to just Anakin Skywalker it, But no, apart from that, um, next time looks interesting. A murder mystery with Agatha Christie and a massive fucking bee.
I know. It's the unicorn and the wasp. It's certainly an interesting thing. We'll be back to talk about it next week. But firstly, JP, love it or hate it?
I've got to say, love it. I just think there are a few bits and pieces that were kind of that irked me a little bit, but I did think it was quite an interesting story. And it's what you said earlier about it almost touches on kind of real time politics in that sense. And overall, it's a very, very interesting plot line.
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely touches on. It's America basically, isn't it? America and Iraq, or America and the Taliban, or America and insert Middle Eastern country name here, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. But what about you? Love it, I hate it.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards love it. I think I'm not as hyped about the Doctor's daughter as everybody else is. I think she's a fine character. But no, I actually think it's a very solid episode. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think, unless you've got anything else to say, I think that's everything. I'm out of notes.
No, I think that's me done too. Thank you everybody for listening. As always, we really appreciate you. It's good to see our numbers are still growing week on week, which I think is absolutely crazy. Especially we took what 3 months off. Um,
Yeah.
it means a lot, guys. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, we really appreciate all the love. And as always, if you've got any feedback, any thoughts on what we say, drop us a comment or, let us know on Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
And this episode as well will be coming out on 21st of June, which is 365 days because this was a leap year since we released our first episode. So happy
We're here.
1 year, JP.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, what a fucking roller coaster of a year, eh?
I know, mental, absolutely mental. But who'd have thunk that we'd be still here a year later? And we got you guys to thank for that because if you weren't listening, we wouldn't do it.
So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a great journey with you all. We look forward to continuing it next week with Unicorn and the Wasp. So for now, adios, amigos.